We're so glad to have you with us here on this Tuesday. I'm Brooke Hash. Right now, the Metro Sewer District is closing 2 flood walls to prevent the rising water from the Ohio from getting further into the city. Drivers making their way downtown notice the first signs of flooding with the closure of River Road to the right of the 3rd Street ramp. That's always the first to go. Metro Sewer District crews are installing those flood walls at 10th Street and 27th. It's an 8-hour process. They said this is a precautionary measure.
Once the walls go in, obviously we have to activate the various pump stations. We have 16 flood pump stations, and I think by the end of tomorrow, about 12 of them will be operating.
That's Tony Parrott with MSD, who said to keep in mind a lot of these pump stations are about 75 years old, so they are monitoring them 24/7 to ensure they're working properly. Another wall at 2nd and Bingham will be on the way up later this afternoon. Homeowners along the Ohio are preparing for these floodwaters. The river is expected to crest around Thursday night into Friday, we're told. A woman near Transylvania Beach going to great lengths to fortify her home.
Everything we pile it up on cinder blocks, and and so we put a pallet against the back door to keep. I'm just worried about the glass breaking.
Louisville MSD said they do not expect the water levels to get as bad as 2018, but they could get close. Well, Governor Andy Beshear just said today the death toll from this weekend's severe weather has risen to 14. The 2 new fatalities come from Jefferson County right here in Louisville, and according to Beshear, a man and woman who appeared to be homeless died of hypothermia.
That should tell all of us that the weather conditions are as dangerous as that water is.
Beshear is cautioning Kentuckians to be prepared for the snow and freezing temperatures expected this week, especially if you do not have power or are unable to safely heat your home due to weather damages.
If you cannot safely power your home by the middle of today, you need to be looking at a shelter option because, again, it's damp out there. There's going to be a lot of snow, and you need to make sure you're safe.
Emergency officials will have warming shelters open to help people remain safe. Right now, 15 are currently open. The governor hopes to have more open as the day goes on. Across the river to southern Indiana, you can see the amphitheater in downtown Jeffersonville underwater. The river also creeping up along the banks in New Albany. A resident there says he's thankful the city has those flood walls.
Business owners here in town and then business owners like my family, we rely on this wall very heavily. If this wall was not here, we would probably be toast when it came to a lot of different businesses and things like that.
Floyd County Emergency Management said it is now up to 3 pump houses in operation, but with river levels still rising, there could be more closures this week. 12:02 on your Tuesday. 1 round down, 2 more to go. If you took a look outside this morning, it was a pretty snow.
Yeah,
Mallory.
It was kind of like a snow globe out there. It's definitely a different kind of snow than what we felt and saw over the weekend. That was a very wet snow. This is a very fine, powdery snow. And this is the kind of snow that we will continue to see today and tomorrow. That's because temperatures are so cold. We don't have as much moisture. You have higher snow ratios here. And yes, of course, we're still talking about that river flooding. That will be the case all throughout the week. This shows that combination here from our Bachman Auto Group downtown Louisville camera here. You can see the flooded waters at Waterfront Park. There's Joe's Crab Shack, 2nd Street Bridge there. And then, of course, that snow falling on top of it. We've been dealing with this light, fluffy snow through the morning hours. Heavy at times in terms of dropping visibility. Still dealing with a bit of a band here right through the Louisville Metro. But take a look at the bigger view. We are starting to see the cutoff as dry air works in from the north and west. So we are expecting this to really wind down within the next hour. But as I mentioned, it has dropped visibility at times, making for slick driving conditions and also hazardous driving conditions in terms of your visibility, dropping that visibility down to about 2 miles in Louisville and Fort Knox at this hour. And as I mentioned, that air is cold, so anything that's falling is sticking. Thankfully, they've been out on the main roads, really treating them throughout the morning. But temperatures, they're in the teens and 20s, and we will be staying below that freezing mark, not only today, but throughout the entire work week. It's going to take until this upcoming weekend for us to break that 32-degree mark. So as Brooke mentioned this morning, that's round 1. We have round 2 on the way tonight, and that's where we're expecting the heaviest snowfall, especially in the blue highlighted areas here where that winter storm warning is in place. We'll talk much more about round 2, round 3, how much snow we could see, the impacts we're expecting here at home. That's coming up in our 7-day forecast.
All right, and to stay up to date on the next round of winter weather this evening, you can download that free WHAS11 app. We will send those updates directly to your phone. You can scan the QR code there on your screen to download it now. In other news, a 4-year-old boy accidentally shot himself this morning. LMPD said officers were called to U of L Southwest Hospital around 8 o'clock for a boy who'd been transported by private means with a gunshot wound. He was soon taken to Norton Children's for treatment. Police determined the original scene was there off Mango Court. The boy is expected to recover. No word on any charges that may come with this. Shively police are investigating a shooting that killed 3 people inside an apartment off Dixie Highway. It happened just after 5 o'clock last night inside the Williamsburg Apartments on Crumbs Lane. The complex is right across the street from Butler High. Police found 2 men and a woman with gunshot wounds dead at the scene. Their names have not been made public.
I mean, anytime something like this happens, obviously it raises the community's concern, and it also raises our concern as well. This is not something that's typical of our city in this area. It's exceedingly rare, so I don't feel that there's a threat to the community at this time.
If you know anything about that shooting, you're asked to call Shively Police. That number is 502-930-2773. You can also text them. We have that information online at WHAS11.com. Now to the mystery of who killed a Louisville jail officer while he was off duty this weekend. 44-year-old Michael Wetta was found dead in an alley with several gunshot wounds Sunday morning around 10:30. Our Focus reporter Travis Breeze shares where LMPD stands in this investigation.
Officer Wetta had come to the United States pursuing a degree in criminal justice from the University of Louisville in 2023 and chose a career in public service that was cut short due to this tragic event.
An immigrant from Liberia in Africa who became a U.S. citizen in December 2022. He graduated from the Louisville Metro Corrections Academy just 3.5 months ago. What happened to Michael Wetta?
When he returned home, his family was there, and a short time later they left. That is the last time that someone who we know, someone who knew Michael, saw him alive.
Wetta died sometime between 3 p.m. Saturday and 10:30 a.m. Sunday when his body was discovered in an alley near the intersection of Cedar Street and South 28th Street with multiple gunshot wounds.
Lieutenant Skaggs, did he live anywhere near 2700 Cedar Street?
We're not going to disclose his personal residence out of respect for the family.
But is it a surprise that he was there?
Again, there's a lot of questions we have as to the location as part of the scene. But yes, we're trying to determine why he was there. Yes, that's part of our investigation.
Police could not say if his role as a corrections officer had anything to do with his death. They are pursuing multiple leads.
And we have asked Metro Corrections if Wetta had an off-duty security job. They're still waiting for a response at this time. Anyone with information is asked to call that anonymous tip line 574-LMPD. Well, Louisville Fire says no one was injured in a vacant house fire last night on West Broadway. They responded to this house in the Chickasaw neighborhood where flames were shooting from the second story. At one point, firefighters were forced to evacuate that building because it started to collapse. No word yet on the cause. Today, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg provided an update on the city's efforts to address homelessness, announcing a push to use funding to provide additional forms of support for those in our community without a home. This would include substance abuse treatment, addiction prevention services for the youth, and court-mandated behavioral health treatment. Homeless advocate Farrah Burleson was at today's announcement, speaking on how similar programs helped her during her time of need.
I know these benefits firsthand because in the winter of 2021, I was one of these many unhoused individuals. It was on an extremely chilly day when the temperatures dropped well below the freezing point when I encountered my very first outreach specialist. She was kind to me. She offered hope to me. And in the twinkling of her eye, I believed there had to be a better way, another way to do this thing called life.
Today's announcements come after we saw the opening of the community care campus in Smoketown last November. Jeffersonville Mayor Mike Moore is delivering his State of the City address right now. He will likely touch on major investments like plans to redevelop the historic Jeff Boat Shipyard. The city also has tightened regulations on vape product sales and is working to establish a new fire protection district with Utica. Mayor Moore is currently speaking from the Howard Steamboat Museum. We'll keep you posted.